You want to hear these birds that are in my chimney? They're not getting quieter, and they sure aren't leaving, so I don't know. If you're anything like me, or you just exist in the open space of indie games bouncing around between whatever your friends are trying to get into, and then also trying to keep up on what piques your interest, you may have hit or are currently hitting a wall where you're trying to figure out what to play. I say may because I don't have this issue. Welcome back, gspree Game, to youtube.com, the only place where you'll find me. I don't exist anywhere else, just in this framework. I do have a problem though. The aforementioned issue isn't it. There's plenty of games to go around, and while I do understand that choosing a game to play in the moment may be difficult, but let me bring you a little secret. The roguelite and roguelike genre. Act like I told you that like 7 years ago, okay? Whoa! We're back in 2026, where roguelike games have cemented themselves into your television set, the one you're watching this on right now, or the one in the other room. You should go check on that, because there's roguelikes in there. There's cemented roguelikes in there. I realize this topic is a little cliche among the top-of-the-line Minecraft shader-based thumbnails, so I'm trying to make the tone of this video a little bit more exciting than melancholy nostalgia bait. not to like negatively harm or poke a jab at all of those videos, by the way. I've seen at least 2 of them at some point, but roguelikes have forever changed the flow of gaming in general for me, neither in a good nor bad way, just how I'm used to playing them. Because of that though, I have this almost need for constant progression in my video games from like a tangible perspective, like something I can almost physically grasp. With roguelites, I'm rewarded after almost every run that goes half decent. Like I don't have to complete the run, but I just have to like get far enough to where, you know, something actually matters. Like I'm not just sacking the run immediately and then expecting a reward, right? With roguelikes, I'm expecting to complete a task to unlock a shiny new thing. Again, regardless of if I succeed in that run. I enjoy feeling the progress that's being made by unlocking things like items, weapons, abilities, cars, or whatever beating the game needs, right? Well, if you like that, why don't you like try RPGs? They have insane meta progression that, you know, progresses steadily throughout the whole game, and everything builds on what's currently in place. You know, that's actually a good point. However, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm the problem. I'm not changing. This is who I am, Mom. I've tried the story game arc. I hear that people are playing and completing story mode games to like fix their attention span these days. Unfortunately, the story game that I chose to start was an Assassin's Creed game, which I'm 40 plus hours into and still nowhere remotely close to being done with it. I can't speak for all Assassin's Creed games, but I definitely feel like I'm at a point right now where it doesn't really matter what my like items and abilities are. I've kind of maxed out everything that's passive on the tree and like gotten armor and equipment that like makes sense for at least my level. I don't really know what comes next, right? Like what kind of progress can I make physically to put myself between a level 37 and a level 50 whatever. Like I really don't know what sets myself apart from what I'm gonna be like towards the end of the game, right? Like the only difference is just gonna be equipment, right? During my brief hiatus of making videos, though it wasn't like an actual hiatus thanks to the immense amount of backlog I have in my C drive's video folder, as well as the YouTube schedule feature, of course. I played video games with the plan to, well, play video games, not to get footage or experience in a game with the intent to make a video on it or a relevant topic, except for a grand total of 3 hours spent between Pixel Gun 2 and Impulse to make this beauty, which, by the way, if you're an aspiring content creator and you're trying to find something that like really engages the community via comments, literally just like talk about 1047 games, anything that they have done, are doing, or are going to do, and just like give your opinion. It could be lukewarm, it could be super cold, it could be super hot, who cares? People in the comments do, actually. Anyway, we'll call this little hiatus, which was about 4 weeks, my gaming reset. During this time, I wanted to branch out and play games that I've been wanting to play or get into for a while, but just haven't really been able to because I can't make a video out of it. Apart from Impulse and Pixel Gun 2, I played 2 games. One to fulfill my multiplayer slop, where games took anywhere between, you know, like 20 to 30 minutes, and then another one to fulfill my want for actually playing through a story game for the first time in a while. The story game slot was filled with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I have owned since like 2020 or 2019. I just never got myself fully dedicated to play through it. I feel like I got generally pretty far. This is the first Assassin's Creed game that I've like personally played and even experienced, and I'm honestly pretty impressed with myself. I have no clue when I'll beat it because the rate of which me beating it right now is, I haven't played it in over a month. So Yeah, I've been busy with these little goofballs. Due to the topic of this video not being specifically Akodusi, I won't go too deep into my thoughts, but I generally had a pretty good time playing the game. I went into it with an optimistic headspace of, just experiencing an Assassin's Creed game for the first time. I had never really showed much interest into the franchise, and I just wanted to give it a try. I really enjoyed the time frame during that war between Sparta and Athens. It's a really cool point to kind of relive through this game. And obviously, when you make progress in an RPG, there is a huge amount of payoff, eventually leading to a true climax of a boss fight and then a credit roll. And the birds are talking again. Some pretty bad acoustics in that chimney. I've become so desensitized, though, to milestones like this through progressions in Rogex games. This came up pretty recently, and I'm getting that weird sense of, synchronicity. We're gonna have a pretty big analogy here. I don't know if it's really an analogy, but when I took the ACT, the written essay portion of this thing had me debate the topic of kindergarten graduations. I want to say it was a persuasive essay, so you had to double down, pick a side, and either persuade, convince, or just generally debate the topic of whichever side you chose. Either on the more positive side, it's a great way to show appreciation, or show your child that they're doing a good job with this whole living situation that they have to deal with, that you made them have to deal with. They're growing and they should feel good about that. They should feel pride. They should feel a sense of accomplishment, that they're actually doing something right. Or the other side, which I chose to write about, so I guess I'm kind of a more negative leaning devil's advocate, I guess, where applauding almost expected behavior too much can make the mentality of a small child a little bit more fragile. Down the line, assuming everything will just be met with praise is not exactly the greatest, path in life, because, you have to work for things. You have to actually put in effort yourself, which kids in kindergarten didn't put in effort, right? They just showed up. They don't know how they got there. They don't know where this building is located. They just end up, and then they're there all day, and then they get picked up and they go home, and then they do it again. They do that five days a week, and then at the end of the year they have this whole celebration, and they go do another thing the next year. At this point in the conversation, it's not solely picking on the exact celebration of a child's kindergarten graduation, because it's a quite menial thing, but it means a lot to some parents, and it means a lot to the kids, because that's their first time that they're being praised on a wider level. They're being acknowledged by many more peers, their peers, their peers' parents, stuff like that. It's a really good example, though. I'm also a little bit jealous, I think, because I don't think I had a kindergarten graduation, but I wouldn't remember anyway. I would love to go to a kindergarten graduation of my little kindergartner. I think that would be great. I think they deserve all of the celebratories, high fives and woohoos as they want. Well, maybe not as much as they want, but they did a thing, right? That's happy. That's cool. It's exciting. But having too many of these celebrations could create a tipping point, because what if they just stop working towards their goals, because they're just going to feel like they end up there. They are going to feel like the end product is going to get them showered with praise or being rewarded. This sense of progression has been made, and they're gonna get a reward no matter what. Or worse, it could inflate their ego. Also, something like a graduation is super broad, so it may not even be necessary at the kindergarten level, because I graduated high school with 300 plus people. I was sharing this culminating life's work thing with 300 plus people. So it definitely made me feel a little bit smaller, but also it was just something that was expected of every single one of us. So we just kind of did it. It's not something that I went out of my way to go do or do good. I was generally a B student. I didn't graduate with honors or anything. I didn't get a varsity letter. I was just kind of there. I just kind of went to high school. I graduated and I did the next thing. College graduation was different though, because that I did really work for that. I paid money to be there. I spent a lot of time and effort into that. Maybe not as much as some of the other people I graduated with, but I also graduated with a lot more people, and they do the whole show where they call your specific, well, I guess they call your specific name and you walk up at a high school graduation too. I don't know. Dang, I think I really had something going there. Honestly, this whole idea of how much celebration is too much celebration is getting pretty close to my main topic of how much, progress is too much progress, how many rewards is too many rewards. That's the thing that is killing my attention span. That is what's, drawing me into these roguelites and roguelikes where I'm not promised progress, but it's really easy to progress and go somewhere, versus a story mode game or story game where I could play an entire hour and do like a couple of side missions, or I could, you know, sink 80 hours into this thing and not even be done with it. Because in Rogex games, I can just stop whenever I want. There's not a lot of Rogex games where you can roll credits. And even still, if you take like Risk of Rain 2 or Slay the Spire 2 or Hades, you know, there is a definitive end, but you just like do it again. Like, who cares? You're gonna see those credits roll a ton more times. So you're gonna kind of lose that idea of like basking in the moment when you see those credits roll. Again, I think maybe I'm just jealous because I didn't have a kindergarten graduation. I think this is just a moment to reflect that I wish I got that praise and adornment from graduating kindergarten. I don't know if adornment is the right word. Well, on the flip side, let's talk about that multiplayer slop game I mentioned like 10 minutes ago. If I want to turn my brain off and fill my time with the gaming equivalent of celery, I'm munching on some teamfight tactics, baby. Yeah. I discovered I could download this game on my iPad so I could doubly kill my attention span and my brain cells by playing this game and watching television at the same time, resulting in me walking away not remembering anything that happened in either of those two things. If anything, I moved my brain's muscles the same way horses pulled off appendages before the birth of Christ. I was able to climb to silver 2 from iron, so I was also able to gain that satisfaction of climbing a ranked ladder, where the only like performance metric is based solely on your performance and how you do specifically. The important thing to understand with TFT is that it is just as reliant on your performance and strategy as it is complete luck and RNG. Why do I compare a video game to a 0-calorie, basically water stick of green? Well, you gain nothing. I could brag to my friends that I ate celery and they'd come back with, "Why didn't you put peanut butter on it?" And I'd say, "Yeah, you know what? Why didn't I put peanut butter on it? I like peanut butter." This analogy only goes so far. Teamfight Tactics soaks up a lot of time, and if you're actually winning a game or even placing top 4, it could last like 45 minutes. And even sacking into 8th place can steal 20 minutes of your day. I could go play a mobile game and make more progress in 20 minutes than I could winning a game of TFT. I love the strategic aspect of TFT, and Big Riot Games has done such a good job at world building that I would even try their rhythm game. I'm meaning to say that I wasn't expecting to like auto battlers, and I probably won't like any other auto battlers, but this one's good, and it's got all my favorite League of Legends characters in there. For me, TFT is a game where I can only play if I have literally nothing else better to do. But I still like it. I still think about it. Someday I'd love to hit gold though, and before I went to record this video, I was just chilling. I guess it was nap time for my cat, so I was locked into my chair. That's when I started getting this B-roll footage for TFT that you're seeing now. This game put me at silver 1 at 92 LP, so I'm really close. So I'm 1 game away, but what if that 1 game turns into 2 games, and then I waste 40 minutes sacking into 8th place, and then I want to try again, and then I lose again, and then I sack 20 to 30 more of my daily minutes, you know? No. I'm not going to deal with that. That's why I play Rogex games. They never let me down. I can customize my play experience. I can dynamically change my goals and always be unlocking things. There is always something to do in a roguelite, and with roguelikes, you typically unlock higher difficulties. By the time I unlock everything or max level everything available, I'm pretty burnt out on the game anyways. Though, lucky for me, a lot of the games that I'm liking right now are actively in development, so I get caught up with all the content that's available now. I get a little bit burnt out on the game. I take a break, I step back, I forget about it for a little bit, waiting for them to release. Oh, what's this? A new patch note, a new update that's coming out soon. They added a bunch of more content. Let's go back and play that content. Dead Zone Rogue has a bunch of missions and things to do, and also weapon skins unlock if you're interested in that sort of thing. And once you beat all of the missions on hard difficulty, 2 more difficulties unlock, which are more challenging. What's next though? Oh, I don't know. Only the best case scenario. Dead Zone Rogue 2, baby. That's honestly like the best case scenario for an indie game, is they load up and they fully update their first game and it goes really well, and then they actually want to expand on their video game. Where have I seen this been done before? Slay the Spire 2, are you crazy? I'd go back to Slay the Spire even after unlocking everything because I wanted to get ascension levels increased on my boys. I hit 20 on the defect and I hit at least 10 on everybody else, and then by the time that I was figuring out like, okay, okay, who do I want to, you know, get to 15? Then who do I want to get to 20? Slay the Spire 2 is out, and I'm ready to go. The best part about Slay the Spire 2 versus Slay the Spire 1 is that it is completely different. I mean, obviously the starting hands are similar. There's 3 same characters returning, but all of the enemies are different or switched up a little bit. The merchant's still there, but you've got different cards being sold to you. You've got new relics being sold to you. You have new synergies within the same returning characters. It's just so much to love. There's so much stuff to unlock and use, and they're not even done building the game. I am never gonna get sick of this game, and I don't even really play the alternate game modes. I also recently revisited Nordhold, which I did a video on a long time ago now. I love city builders when they're in season, and I love a unique tower defense game. Nordhold smashes those two together, and runs are so much fun. It's like figuring out a puzzle, and you get so far into it that by the time that you're done with it, you have to go back to the beginning and figure out how you got to the point that you were at the end of your last run. I don't know how I did it, but this run I got all the way to stage 30 and got absolutely decimated. I don't know what strategy I used to get this far. I'm gonna figure it out and probably find out how to get there with another strategy. Meta progression isn't super prominent, but there's definitely a lot of stuff in there that helps you in further runs. And I feel like every single run I do, I get further than the last one. I also just love seeing what developers are doing in this ever innovated space. There's so much that's already been done, but the roguelike and roguelike tags can be applied to almost every other video game genre. Because of that, we get new games that hit the scene almost every quarter. Lort was a great example of that when it came out, and there was a huge update for that recently. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, screw playing story games. I'm gonna sit at my keyboard, I'm gonna stare at my monitor, and I'm gonna drool for 20 minutes to an hour of a run. And that's just about how I feel after spewing all these words from a screen into a microphone. Because if my school system taught me anything, is that once I'm done spewing information back, after I've gathered up all my thoughts and then I've pushed it out to whatever I'm supposed to be pushing out to, in this case, the YouTube video, whatever, I don't have to remember any of this. This notepad with all the stuff on it, with all my scripts on it, it's gonna go in the trash and it's gonna get recycled immediately. I mean, honestly, I don't need any of this information anymore. I already have it. If you wanna, you know, if you wanna like add something in the comments, I'll drop by and say hi and I agree or I disagree or something like that. I don't know. But in like 2 weeks when I'm working on the next video, I'm not thinking about this one. So that's probably why I repeat a lot of the stuff that I say. I should work on that. Anyways, gspree gang, thanks a lot for stopping by and letting me take up some of your attention span. It really means a lot. Have a wonderful rest of your day, night, week, weekend, and I will catch you the next time you catch me.